Have you ever heard of a bride who walked down the aisle without gold, without jewels, without all the glitter the world expects? Imagine the gasps, the whispers, the quiet judgment in the room. Imagine the courage it takes for someone to stand tall in the face of tradition, in the face of family pressure, and say, "No, I will not wear gold." This is not just a story about a wedding. This is a story about courage, about values, and about what it truly means to live your life on your own terms. In a small town outside of Dallas, Texas, lived a young woman named Emily. She wasn't born into wealth, but she grew up with parents who worked hard, saved every penny, and taught her that true worth is never measured in glittering things. Her mother was a teacher, gentle and kind, always reminding her, "Sweetheart, character is the jewel that shines the longest." Her father was a mechanic, rough around the edges, but with a heart bigger than any diamond. Emily carried these words with her as she grew older, but life has a way of testing the things we believe. When she met Daniel, a kind and ambitious young man from a well-to-do family, she thought she had found her happily ever after. Daniel loved her simplicity. He loved that she didn't wear makeup every day, that she didn't care for fancy handbags, that she laughed freely without worrying about what others thought. But Daniel's family was different. They believed in tradition, in appearances, in doing things the right way. When the wedding was announced, Daniel's mother pulled Emily aside. "Dear, on the wedding day, the bride must wear gold. It's not just about beauty. It's about respect. It's about status. People will talk. Our family cannot be seen as small or cheap." Emily smiled politely, but inside she felt uneasy. She never liked the weight of jewelry, the coldness of gold against her skin. More than that, she didn't like the message it sent. To her, love was never about display. It was about commitment, trust, and shared dreams. Days turned into weeks, and the pressure grew. Daniel's cousins teased her. "What kind of bride doesn't wear gold? Are you trying to shame the family?" His aunts shook their heads in disbelief. Even her own relatives began urging her. "Emily, just wear it. Don't make trouble. It's only one day." But Emily wrestled with herself. She asked, "If I bend now, if I give in just because people expect it, what does that say about the life I want to build?" The night before her wedding, she sat alone in her room, the gold necklace her future mother-in-law had chosen lying heavy in a box before her. She opened it, looked at the shimmer under the light, and felt tears roll down her cheeks. It was beautiful, yes, but it was not her. She whispered to herself, "This is not who I am." That moment was her turning point. Emily closed the box, placed it on her table, and wrote a short note to Daniel. "I love you, but tomorrow I will not wear gold. I will walk down the aisle as myself, or not at all." When morning came, there was tension in the air. Family members whispered. The guests waited to see what kind of bride she would be. The doors opened, and Emily stepped in, wearing a simple white dress, no necklace, no bangles, no crown of jewels. Only a small silver locket around her neck, the one her mother had given her on her 18th birthday. Her face glowed not because of gold, but because of courage. The whispers began immediately. Some were shocked, some disapproved. But Daniel, when he saw her, his eyes filled with tears. He took her hands at the altar and whispered, "You are the most beautiful bride I've ever seen." The ceremony went on, simple and heartfelt. Afterward, Daniel's mother was furious. She confronted her son. "How could you let her disgrace us like this?" But Daniel only smiled and said, "Mother, what kind of family values gold over love? What kind of marriage begins with pretense instead of truth?" That day, Emily's choice rippled far beyond the walls of the church. Some mocked her, yes, but others, especially young women who had always felt crushed under the weight of expectation, saw in her an example of freedom. Slowly, whispers of admiration replaced whispers of judgment. People began saying, "Do you remember that bride who refused to wear gold? She showed us that courage can outshine tradition." Years passed. Emily and Daniel built a life together, not on wealth, but on trust and honesty. They faced challenges, They struggled at times, but whenever Emily looked back at her wedding day, she smiled. Because that day, she proved to herself that being true to who you are is the most valuable jewel of all. And so, dear listener, the lesson is clear. Life will always hand you boxes of gold, expectations, traditions, pressures to fit in. But the real question is, will you wear them, even if they weigh you down? Or will you have the courage to close the box and walk forward as yourself? Remember this, gold can shine for a moment, but integrity shines for a lifetime.